The Highly Sensitive Person book review and some interesting ideas I found in this book. I'll start with the quick review. I'm almost giving this book 4 stars. I might eventually give it a 3, but definitely learned a lot from reading this book or listening to this book. There is definitely some interesting information, new information. I was not exposed to it before. She called HSP, which is highly sensitive person. And there is, again, good information. Not all of it is very easy to remember, so I have it in the notes too. So it has like, you should do A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is a lot of that. I wish she wouldn't do that way. That's why she might get a 3. Other than that, there's definitely good information. I would say that this is a little too long of a book. But I really like. I think it's an important book, especially if you're thinking that you are one, which means a highly sensitive person, an HSP. So if you think you're one, definitely read that book because it will give you some knowledge. Again, it not necessarily will change your life, but it will. The way I saw it, I understand myself a little better. Again, I don't think I'm a fully HSP, but definitely give you some knowledge. And if you have a friend or someone that is close to you that you think he is or they are a highly sensitive person, I might also recommend reading this book. So again, there is good information. I might go with a 4 on this book. Let's see. First note, sometimes we mistake arousal for fear. The heart might be pounding due to overstimulation, not fear. So it's easily mistaken one with another. So it could be fear. We think, oh, we're afraid, but actually it could be overstimulation. And overstimulation, they're very close to each other. So we think we're fearing something, but it's actually overstimulation. Evolutionary HSP used to alert people of danger and such. So what usually HSP used to do, alert people because they're a little more sensitive, so they can tell in advance about some danger that is coming. HSP have problem falling asleep, and when they wake up to continue to sleep. So they have both problems. They have problem to fall asleep, and they have problem when they do wake up to continue to sleep. It's not both problems, it's kind of the same idea, but HSP often report that problems. In order to fall asleep, we often need to feel safe. So one of the problems that HSP that have problem falling asleep is that they don't feel safe. And in order to fall asleep, we need to feel safe. The less sleep causes higher cortisol levels, which cause less sleep. So it's kind of like a circle. So less sleep causes higher cortisol, and cortisol prevent sleeping. So it's kind of like not a good circle. For an HSP, avoiding anxious attachment is even worse. Some of them are, and it's not good for them because there is some miscommunication between the two. So anxious and avoiding is attachment theory. So when they do have that, or they have a person that is like that, it doesn't do any better. We can't relieve all stress. There is some typo there. We have to learn how to deal with it. Some people want to know, I don't want any stress, but this is not feasible and cannot be achieved. The better strategy is to learn to cope with it, to learn to deal with it. HSP tend to do better with 1 or 2 close friends. So it's similar to an introvert. They're better with 1 or 2 close friends rather than a big group of people. Sometimes sensitivity could result in shyness, since you don't know how to react to the stimuli. Similar idea to the first note. We mistakenly thinking that not one sensitivity, but one thing is with another, which means in this case shyness with the reaction to a stimuli. We think we get overstimulation for something, or there is some stimulation for something, and we think is shyness, when actually is we just don't know how to react to that stimuli, so we think it's shyness. According to Jung, introversion and extroversion depends on where you divert your attention to, inward or outward. So it really depends. That's according to Jung. And I think it's a very good way to describe introversion and extroversion is where do you direct your attention, outward or inward. So the introvert would be inward. Good way to describe. HSP tend to be avoidant when it comes to love. They usually tend to be more avoidant, and it's a good thing to know. More students fall in love in their first year away from home. Loneliness causes people to fall in love. I think it has some merit, and it's also interesting that they have that study. So they studied students that go away from home and they actually fall in love faster. And what the reason is because you feel lonely, you're looking for some intimate relationship. HSP sometimes looking for closeness but back off when it gets too close. So they have this little problem. They want it, but if it gets too close, they divert. They go out. They don't like it as much. So it's kind of like not a paradox, but something close to it. Talking about the needs of solitude is important for a relationship. So if you have that need for solitude, it's better to talk about it. Because sometimes if you just do it, people don't know what's going on and they think you don't like them or something like that. To really talk about it could really help our relationship. Side note, there is too many do's and don'ts in this book. It's really hard to remember or implement. So that's what I spoke a little bit about in the review part. There is too many, you should do this. There is a long list of things you should do. Many other books are doing the same thing. And I always thought I'm not going to remember that. So think of a better way to transmit or get this information across other than just giving me 10 things. And there is many of them. So if you really gather everything, it will be hundreds. I don't think it's a very good way to get the information across. HSP tend to be more sensitive to pain. So there's the highly sensitive person, so they're also actually more sensitive to pain. Natural medication could replace antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication. Sometimes HSP get prescribed antidepressant or anti-anxiety. And there is also some natural medication that are actually working better according to the author. HSP are sometimes better with long-term views or profits. Because they have, I forgot why, or the theory of why, but they often do better with long-term thinking or profits, which has similar trait. And that's the last one. According to Jung, you would know yourself better by knowing your inferior type rather than your superior one. So it's like two different approaches. How do you know yourself better? By looking on your inferior, where you're not doing as good, or where you are doing good. So according to Jung, is knowing your inferior type would help you know yourself better than knowing your superior part. That is for the notes, and again, a high 3 for sure I'm giving this book, or even a 4. We'll see when I'm actually gonna do that. But again, if you're thinking you are, or you have someone that you think he is, it's an interesting book. Or if you're an introvert, again, I don't think she did the best job talking about the subject. I'm sure there is a better way. It has it's a very known book. It could be done better, but there is definitely some good information in there. So that's it. Thank you.